subscribe, share, and you can also donate. I'll put my PayPal down below in the comment section. All right. Now, double standards in boxing. We're talking Canelo and Triple G, and there's plenty of stuff to go around. So here we go. Before I do so, I want to read something to you guys. A scripture. It's gonna be really brief, very very quick. It says, "If any man teaches otherwise, and does not agree to wholesome words, even the words of Jesus, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof comes envy, strife, rilings, and evil surmisings, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw yourself." So people do not respect and honor each other, instead looking to strive and bring about strife. By the way, that's 1 Timothy chapter 6. You want to remove yourself from those people. Okay. Those are words to abide by, because at least that those conversations, because we have a case of double standards when we talk about Canelo and Triple G, and it goes both ways. Double standards that favor Triple G sometimes, and double standards that favor Canelo. I'll show you what I mean. So first off, Triple G has been sanctioned by the WBA to face Erislandy Lara is mandatory. Okay, so the WBA sanctioned Gennady Golovkin to face Erislandy Lara. However, when we look at the WBA or even the WBC, the mandatory of the WBC for Canelo is David Benavidez. Yet the WBC has not sanctioned that Canelo face David Benavidez. Of course, Canelo is a franchise champion, but still the WBC could sanction it. They could order it, like the WBA is ordering Gennady Golovkin. That is a double standard. And Dante's Boxing Nation went into the fact that Gennady Golovkin now, has to face Erislandy Lara to defend his title. And again, Dante is not wrong in that, you know. But I think the standard should also apply for Canelo, who should defend his title against David Benavidez, the rightful guy in line at 168. Of course, at least the WBC should sanction it. They should order it. They have not done so. So you see double standards in sanctioning bodies. One sanctioning body does one thing, the other sanctioning body's not doing it. The other thing that I find double standards here is that Gennady Golovkin seems to be getting a pass by people like Sergio Mora and Chris Mannix from DAZN. I was just watching their take on Gennady Golovkin, and they're saying that Gennady Golovkin, who is a unified world champion, by the way, a WBC, WBA, and IBF world champion, if I'm not mistaken, they're saying that he shouldn't fight top-level other champions and unify with them, even though his goal is still to become undisputed, in Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo. He's saying they are elite guys, he should stay away from them, and he should defend his titles. This is what I got to say. And Erislandy Lara is a contemporary of Gennady Golovkin. So Erislandy Lara, I guess Erislandy Lara is on the table. I hope so. But even so, here's my point. They're saying he's 40 years old and blah blah blah. If you're 40 years old and you say you could fight on, and you want to hold on to the titles, then you have to at least defend your titles, and you're fair game. Okay, you're fair game. So I don't want to hear the excuses because they're making excuses that he shouldn't face Jamal Charlo or he shouldn't face. But yet on the other hand, everyone is forcing Canelo, and wants him to face David Benavidez. You know, wants him to face Jamal Charlo, wants him to face Demetrius Andrade. Right? So one guy, he gets a pass on facing these guys. But the other guy, he doesn't get a pass. They want Canelo to go to the moon and do all kinds of things, but they give Gennady Golovkin a pass. And Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez, while they are varied in age, are contemporaries. Canelo just started his career earlier. In fact, Canelo started his career before Gennady Golovkin. Before Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin is older, but he's definitely not an older veteran of the game than Canelo is. Canelo has more fights than Gennady Golovkin. Okay? So I find that to be a double standard. You can't say give a pass to Gennady, and they always do this. They give Gennady Golovkin all these passes. Oh, he shouldn't go back up to 168. He should go back to 160 where he is. He shouldn't have to face Demetrius Andrade or face Jamal Charlo. But he's a world champion and a unified world champion at that. If he doesn't want to face those guys will want to get the belts. Then what you do is either you defend your titles or you give them up. So if he doesn't want to face, for example, Erislandy Lara, who he should have faced a long time ago, but now I fancy Lara's chances. But if he wants to face Erislandy Lara now, if he doesn't want to face Erislandy Lara, and they're talking about he wants to go do a tour, world, whatever, then guess what? Give up the championship that you have. Give it up. Give up the WBA. Right? Give up the WBA because Erislandy Lara has been at 160 for a quick minute, and he would like to face you. Give up your IBF title if you're willing to just go on fighting. But if you're interested in unifying the titles and becoming undisputed, then you're going to have to face Demetrius Andrade or Jamal Charlo at 160 if Demetrius Andrade is still there. It could be Janibek who might end up being there, and it might be that Demetrius Andrade may want to go to 168. We'll see. Okay. But ultimately, in the end, you're going to have to face these young guys, these elite young guys, if you're willing to stay champion and not hugging the titles so that you don't have an undisputed champion. Because if you're not going to face anybody and you're just staying as a world champion there, you're occupying space. Somebody else could be a world champion and help to get the unifications. Because we want one champion per division if we can have it. So nobody's going in on Gennady Golovkin. Oh, they're giving him a pass and things. It's fine. Listen, Gennady Golovkin can fight as long as he wants. Just don't take up the space and the spot. Don't stay being a world champion, but you're not unifying with the elite fighters, or you're not defending against elite fighters. Don't do that. Let the fighters have their chances to be champions and stuff. And if you never become undisputed, so be it. But if you was interested in becoming undisputed like you said you were, then you will go on to face these young, strong champions. So you can have them on your resume. Win, lose, or draw. But make sure you don't take too much punishment in the process. Because Gennady Golovkin's legacy can be enriched even more by facing these young, strong champions. But he has to make sure he's in great condition so he doesn't come out of it worse than he went in. This is always a concern with a veteran who's 40 years old, who a lot of people would like him not to continue fighting. Period. But if you want to fight fights that you think, you know, you can handle and you wouldn't get punished as much, but you don't want to do it at the top level, you just simply surrender the belts. You can continue your pro career at lower tiers. So at least you left as your second run as champion. You didn't lose the championship, right? So that's a way of doing it. But you will have to surrender the belts because you're not intending to fight at that level anymore, right? So that is the way how I see things going with Gennady Golovkin. So I think it's a double standard because you're holding Canelo to this high standard that you're not holding Gennady Golovkin, but Gennady Golovkin is supposedly a better fighter than Canelo and supposedly superior to Canelo in every single way. Because this is how people esteem Gennady Golovkin for some reason, which in no way, shape, or form has he done what Canelo has done in boxing. In no shape or form has he. We've seen he's not on the same level as Canelo. Y'all can use the age excuse. The truth be told, Canelo varied range. That's why Gennady Golovkin couldn't do what he wanted to do. Um, Finally, I'm gonna say this for what you need. I'm not mad at Dante's Boxing Nation because Dante Boxing Nation, he goes in on Canelo, he goes in on Triple G. He's very consistent, even though I think sometimes he's very trivial in his criticisms, and very, he's just picking. He's just kind of picking on Canelo, particularly. Dante's Boxing Nation goes in on Canelo more than he goes in on Triple G. In fact, Dante, by mistake, said in one of his videos that Canelo lost to Triple G, saying that he's making excuses for losing to Triple G, which he didn't lose to Triple G at all. Like, maybe that's what's going on subconsciously. You made a Freudian slip because you're hoping that you lose to Triple G or something, but he didn't lose to Triple G. Okay, it's almost like Dante and these guys, they esteem Triple G above Canelo, which is ludicrous to say the least. And again, I'm going to say this for the record: Canelo won all three fights, in my opinion. He won the first one, second, and third, and he fought all three fights differently. He fought the first one on the back foot, the second one on the front foot, the first one on the back foot in the pocket area, just outside the pocket area. He fought the second one on the front foot in the pocket area, and he fought the third one on the front foot outside the pocket area. He had to slide into the pocket, do his hitting, and slide back out. Brilliant, just brilliant boxing. So if Dante would go and do a little film study or a little study of Canelo, he realized Canelo fought Gennady Golovkin three different ways. If he's willing to do that. So, and all you have to do is look at the feet, okay? You will see Canelo's on the outside of Gennady Golovkin, how far away his feet are from Gennady Golovkin, okay? So you watch the feet. For those who don't know boxing, all right? Dante's around boxing all the time. You should know this, right? So you watch Canelo's feet, and you will see that there's a spacing between him and Gennady Golovkin. They're not in the pocket. And Canelo's fighting Gennady Golovkin that way. Very deceptive in what he was doing. You go and watch the first fight, you watch the feet again. Canelo's just on the outside of Gennady Golovkin, sometimes inching in on Gennady Golovkin in the pocket, but leaning back. So he's always in the pocket in the first fight. Even though he's fighting, he's just barely on the outside of the pocket, or he snaps back on the outside, but he's generally in engaging distance. In the second fight, he was in the pocket. He was moving his upper body, waist, and pushing Gennady Golovkin back, and that's why they had so many trades and stuff, because he was staying in the pocket a lot more. So there are three different ways he fought Gennady Golovkin, and he showed y'all an extra wrinkle. Okay, when people say Canelo didn't do anything different, watch the feet. Y'all need to know boxing. Now, a lot of y'all don't know shit about boxing, for real. Y'all don't know boxing at all. Watch the feet. Okay, back to what I was saying. So, with respect to um, Canelo, Dante said that Canelo had lost to Gennady Golovkin and he was making excuses for his loss because in his left hand in the wrist area here he had it's kind of like bone spurs. He had debris inside of that area and like the bone kind of came out and it's rubbing against the bone, so he hurt his wrist area. This is something that Floyd Mayweather suffered from, Pernell Whitaker suffered from, and many other fighters with that kind of skill set. Okay, Floyd had wrist problems because his bones. He actually broke his bones in his hands, his phalanges, and he also had a problem in his wrist area. So Canelo had the same aching problem, and he dealt with it. So now he's trying to get laser. First, going to try to do laser surgery, and he got to do all-around surgery for the. And wrist joints are the most difficult areas to treat and really do a good job with because there's so many bones in the hands and in the phalanges and in the wrist. So when Dante was trying to say that's an excuse, which is really stupid to say, and what Canelo's telling you, he's telling you the truth. Why would he lie about that? He's not telling you he had a rotator cuff injury. He's telling you he has a wrist injury. Dante made a big deal about it, like Canelo's making excuses for his performance, which he's not. It's not a trivial thing, you know. And again, I have a problem with Dante because Dante can't stay objective. He has a certain hate for Canelo. I know he has a hate for Canelo, and I don't understand it. Like I don't understand the hate. Like he wanted the guy to lose so bad that he's actually starting to make stupid articles on the guy. And I'm not a big Canelo fan. I also agree with a lot of the criticisms that Dante and all of these other guys have about Canelo. I agree with them. But I'm not so crazy biased and crazy like my mind want to blow that I don't understand. If you're gonna criticize Canelo like that, what more for Triple G? Triple G's overhyped, and I don't hate so much Triple G that I lose my foresight on him. He's accomplished quite a lot, and he is a competent, good fighter. I'm not gonna like trash him, but at the same time, come on, man, come on. If you going in on Canelo like that, what are you saying about Triple G who ducked some guys? I mean, straight up duck dudes and then face bums after, right? But y'all don't go in on Triple G for that. Triple G faced, what was the guy name from my country? I forgot what his name is. A nobody from out of nowhere, Triple G faced. Okay? Instead of Demetrius Andrade, who was a world champion, Triple G had no championship belt. So you gonna turn down a championship to face an unknown guy? Okay, he undefeated, whatever, but he's an unknown guy. You're not gonna step up and face Demetrius Andrade for the WBO title? Don't you want the WBO title? Y'all never criticized him for that. Dude didn't even have a title. Now Canelo, he got a bunch of titles. He needs to face David Benavidez. That's the guy in his weight class. He has to face him at some point in his career. He can't be ducking and dodging David Benavidez. But y'all quick to say Canelo's ducking and dodging David Benavidez. Y'all quick to say that. Look who Canelo faces. Now, mind you, we could say Canelo went. He did face David Benavidez. He faced Yildirim, and in a way he requested that when he could have faced David Benavidez, right? Which he should have faced. We could say that, so that's fair. But y'all go in on Canelo about that, but I don't really hear y'all going in on Triple G for all of these crazy things that this dude be doing. You talking about Canelo Derevyanchenko? You go and face one fighter at a time. By the way, I agree. He did not face Demetrius Andrade, and then he said all the stupidness that he said after. So he's wrong. But y'all doing like he ducked Derevyanchenko, and Charlo, and Triple G didn't. Triple G ducked Derevyanchenko, he ducked Charlo, and he ducked Andrade. And he ain't never moved out of his division until recently there. And who has he been facing in place of those guys? Instead of facing Derevyanchenko, he faced some dud. He dropped the IBF. He dropped the IBF belt to face a dud, a nobody. Y'all forgot. And Derevyanchenko was his mandatory. Derevyanchenko ended up facing Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs won the title. And then Danny Jacobs faced Canelo. That's how it went down. Okay? But Triple G didn't face nobody when he ducked Derevyanchenko, and that is a duck, because he didn't face nobody of status. All right, let's go on. Triple G, Charlo was Triple G's mandatory. Okay. So instead of Triple G facing Charlo, who does he face? I believe at the time, before he faced Canelo, he fought, like, was it Vanes Martirosyan or some other dud? It was a dud before he faced Canelo. That's a duck. And how did he manage to duck Charlo like that? I don't know. All right? So after Canelo was stripped of the WBC title, Triple G got it, and then Charlo got himself in position to be the mandatory. And Triple G didn't face Charlo. Now Canelo didn't face Charlo, didn't face Andre, didn't face Derevyanchenko, but he faced Kovalev. You can't call that a duck. You see what I'm saying? At 175. Right? Now, he never came back down to 160. He went down to 168. Benavidez was there. He got stripped. Benavidez was about to have that fight with Caleb Plant, and he got stripped. Canelo ends up picking up the belt after he faced Callum Smith, who was, at the time, Ring Magazine's lineal champion. He was supposedly the best one at 168. I didn't think so, but that's how he was evaluated, because he had the better names right at that time. Okay, so Canelo picks up a belt. In addition to the belt, he beat Callum Smith. Instead of rematching, instead of facing Benavidez, he fought Yildirim. So he should have defended against Benavidez. He fought Yildirim. Okay. But after that, he fought Billy Joe Saunders and he fought Caleb Plant. Now, the missing link is Benavidez. That's the only other big name out there, Benavidez. But y'all went in on him, even though the next guy he faced, he didn't face Benavidez, he fought Bivol. Y'all can't say nothing. Bivol was a champion at 175. Bivol's a great fighter. I knew Bivol was going to beat him, and he beat him. But my point is, y'all go in on Canelo, oh, he ducked this, and he ducked that, and he ducked this, and he ducked that. Yeah, he ducked Andre. But you can't say he ducked Charlo. Benavidez should have got his shot instead of Yildirim. WBC did this stupidness and mandated that Yildirim face Canelo, but Canelo requested Yildirim, his buddy. And Yildirim didn't put on no performance. Should have fought Benavidez, the true champion whose title he's holding still to this day. So he should face Benavidez, no doubt about it. So y'all are right about that. But don't tell me Gennady Golovkin shouldn't face Andre, or shouldn't face Lara, or shouldn't face Charlo. Don't tell me that. That's double standards, in my opinion. And I don't see Dante going in hard on that. That Triple G should face Andre. If he's still champion with the belt, then he should handle his business. That he should also face Charlo. Y'all want to make the excuse he's old. But if he's old, give up the belts. You can still fight professionally, but surrender the belts. Don't hold the belts hostage. Let Lara get his shot. And if you don't want to face Lara, surrender the belt. Who is the IBF guy in line? Derevyanchenko again? Derevyanchenko will love a rematch with Triple G. Derevyanchenko's in line to get the IBF title again. If you don't want to face Derevyanchenko, give up the belt, because all they got is killers, and you was supposed to be a killer. You're an old killer, but if you don't want to deal with that and you want to just continue your career and make some money, then surrender the belts and call it a day. Nobody's doing that though. Nobody's calling that out. Everybody's on Canelo. They want to do the Canelo hate thing. And I don't find that balanced. I find that to be something where folk be having double standards. You don't see people going down on Triple G like that. They go in on Canelo. Oh, Canelo ducking this one. He's ducking that one. But Canelo fighting world champions. He fight world champion after world champion. Triple G himself is a unified world champion at 160. He fought yet another world champion. How many world champions has Triple G faced? The Murata thing, okay, cool. And he just fought Canelo. So is he going to fight the next world champion, or is he just going to defend his title? Get what I'm saying? He may fight a former world champion. Maybe he will fight Lara. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll fight Derevyanchenko. Who knows? But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, Triple G gets a pass every time. And then y'all double down on Canelo, and y'all go hard on Canelo. Between those two, I'm not talking about nobody else right now. I'm just talking about Canelo and Triple G. There are double standards. People are willing to give Triple G a pass for doing minimal things in his career. Oh, Canelo was stalling this fight and drawing it out. Is that really true? Canelo's the one fighting world champions. What is Triple G doing? What world champions? Murata? That's it? He hasn't faced a world champion in a while, in years. So he gets to sit down on the sidelines. He gets to feed off of scrubs and unknown people, right? While Canelo's out there beating world champions in different weight classes. But he's all right. Triple G's all right. He can do the bare minimum, and he's okay. He's a real fighter. He's a real champion. Whereas Canelo, he got to be going, beating up people and doing all kinds of things. He don't stop Triple G. He got a little wrist issue that's been nagging him. He want to do some surgery on it or get it sorted out. But he's making excuses. But y'all make excuses for Triple G. He's 40 years old. He don't have to face those lions, those elite guys. He don't have to make, y'all just make excuses for him. Right? All of a sudden the standards change. And all the supposed black channels, the supposed new media are not covering this either. They're not saying, well, this guy's a world champion. If you want to stay a world champion, then he's supposed to face these guys. And he's supposed to face he's 40 years old. If you're 40 years old and you feel he's too old, then get out the game. Otherwise, you're occupying space. That's what Charlo said to Floyd. He said, you holding down the belts. What's up with this? Get out the game or face us. And similarly, I say, Triple G, get out of the game or face these top fighters. I don't want to hear no excuse about him not facing elite fighters and he's facing BNC fighters. He can face BNC fighters. Not with your title. No. Because the guys in line to get your title are not BNC fighters. Derevyanchenko's not a B-level fighter. And Lara's not a B-level fighter. So you're going to have to face one of them. And I'm saying all of this just to make the point that, as I said in previous videos, fans want to see compelling matchups, man. They may not be the greatest fights, but at least let's see the matchups. You know? Now, if he defends his title, his WBA title, against, as mandated by Erislandy Lara, and he wins, good for him. Right? His IBF title mandatory is Derevyanchenko. Derevyanchenko always mandatory for the IBF. I don't know how that is even happening, but that's the way that goes. Okay? So my point anyway is this. And I am making a point. Y'all can't go in on Canelo like that if y'all don't keep the same energy with Triple G. Because y'all esteem that Canelo ducked Triple G for 4 years and he made him old. Meanwhile, Canelo's beating world champions, going up in weight classes and beating all these guys. Right? He's beating world champions. Triple G's beating who? Who is Triple G beating? Canelo's fighting the elite of the elite and beating them. Who is Triple G beating? Nobody. So let's stop that. Or if you want to be critical of Canelo, you better be critical of Triple G because he's worse than Canelo. He's worse than Canelo. He been sitting around waiting for Canelo fight. He waiting for a paycheck. That's terrible. He not facing Charlo. He not facing Andrade. Y'all ain't saying nothing about that. He not facing Derevyanchenko for a rematch. He don't want to face Lara. Lara being around all the time. Y'all ain't talking about that. Lara got himself in position since last year. Y'all wasn't talking about him facing Lara. Y'all just give him a pass on everything. And the media don't cover none of that stuff. But when it comes to Canelo, he just had a pee in a corner and y'all ready to go at it. And I call that double standards. You don't have to have double standards for race. You just had to not like a fighter. And I know when guys don't like a fighter. You can hear them nitpicking, just trying to keep that negative energy out there about the fighter. So when Canelo feels somehow kind of way to the media, I get it. Because you're trying to keep his name. You're literally running a negative narrative about this guy. And you're overhyping the negativity about it. Meanwhile, Triple G's getting a pass. He getting a pass for everything. Ain't nobody covering him. And I find that to be a double standard. So I'm just saying, if y'all want to do that in boxing, y'all want to have double standards in boxing, why don't you form your own league or something? Your white-only league where, Canelo is not considered purely white because he's Mexican, right? But when y'all claim him as white, right? And in the black groups, he's racist and he's Canelo is the worst of the worst. But yet somehow, y'all don't process that all the way through for Triple G for some reason. I don't know why. Because y'all must have felt that Triple G would have knocked out Canelo the first time. That's why y'all still, to this day, will never give Canelo that first fight, even though he did earn it. And all the facts are there. I hear Dante saying that Triple G was more active than Canelo in that fight. But he wasn't letting his hands go in the first 8 rounds. How could he be more active than Canelo? Get out of here with that stupidness. I don't care what Punch Stats say. It's not true. It's not true. Triple G couldn't let his hands go because he wasn't in position to let his hands go. So all that talk about Punch Stats is baloney. We watched the fight. So if Dante want to believe that, let him believe it. Might as well believe in goblins and fairies and stuff like that. People build narratives for what they believe and what they want. But when you want to speak the truth, which is what this channel do, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you want to speak the truth, you speak the truth. I'm what you need. I'm going to catch y'all guys later. Like it said there in the Bible, 1 Timothy chapter 6, there are people who are all about, lies and trying to build narratives and trying to put people in a bad light. But the truth of the situation is that, yes, you can have criticism of a person, and yes, that person does do things which warrant you speaking about them. But then, if you do that for that person, you should keep the same energy for another who you may esteem more highly than that person. And that is where I realize there is a certain sentiment among certain people in the industry against Canelo Alvarez. They're willing to say he's a drug cheat for the rest of their life. They're willing to say he ducked this fighter and this fighter and this fighter for the rest of their life. But we don't hear that same energy for Triple G. We don't hear it. Because Canelo's a threat to these people for some reason. A threat. They can't give him the praise that he deserves. Because he deserves a certain amount of praise. And I don't care what his skin color is. I'm going to speak it as it is. He deserves a certain level of praise. He does. And we have to keep it a buck 100. We ain't going to play the game of, okay, they whitewashing everything. So they going this way. We need to go this way. So we can balance the scale. I'm not into that. I'm not playing the narrative game. I'm about boxing on this channel. And we're going to keep it buck 100. We're going to keep it level. There are things that Canelo does in boxing that no fighter today has been doing. Whether you want to look at all the little asterisks on those things, you can. But at the end of the day, you cannot take away from his accomplishments. And for people to feel that Canelo's some average fighter out there, I hear those channels saying that. And he doesn't deserve what he's doing or what he worked hard for. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. Okay? And they want to label him a drug cheat so he can't be in pound for pound. All kinds of just nonsense. Right? The same ridiculous hate they had for Floyd is now the same ridiculous hate they have for Canelo. Give the man his flowers. Yes, the man has done some stupid things. Yes, the man is avoiding certain fighters. I do not disagree with you on that. But give the man his respect. Don't disrespect the man. Give him his respect. I want to see him versus Benavidez. I absolutely do. I want to see him against Beterbiev. I absolutely do. I want to see him against Andre. I absolutely do. Listen to the names of people I'm talking about now. The world will want to see him against Charlo for some reason. So would I. These are the fights out there that Canelo will continue to build his legacy of. Benavidez is a must because he's in Benavidez' division, and Benavidez' belt is what he has. And he didn't really take the belt from Benavidez. He needs to take it from Benavidez. He should tell Benavidez, come get your belt. Come get your belt. In fact, if I was Canelo, I would handle that business before I go and face Bivol. So, Canelo calls the shots somewhat. He is on the contract with the zone, but he can suspend that contract, go deal with Benavidez first, and then go deal with Bivol, which are two different styles, but nonetheless. That's the way how I think it should be done. But, again, I'm just a fan. I want to see him against Beterbiev. If he goes up to 175, decides to stay at 175. And then there's a host of other guys up in 175 he can face. There's Ramirez, there's Hart, there's Joe Smith Jr., Barrera. There's a host of guys up there he could deal with as well, right? But quite frankly, that's what I would like to see Canelo do. I want to see him face the toughest, hardest guys out there and see, who comes out on top. And of course, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I fancy his chances against all of them except for two fighters. There are only two fighters, I think. If Canelo don't work on his footwork, they'll beat him. And that's Bivol and Andre. I do believe Demetrius Andre is a guy Canelo needs to work on his footwork to beat. And it's not going to be easy because Andre is a very, 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 very good fighter. And I just think that experience might be the major key that makes a difference in that fight. But Canelo has to be able to move his feet for 12 rounds. He has to be able to move his feet. You know, uh, that's the key. And he's doing better. I mean, again, against against Golovkin, Julio Cesar Chavez said he found that Canelo was kind of fading. He was a little bit fading down the stretch, a little bit, but his feet were still sharp. He was still moving quick. Um, so he was still doing what he was doing, controlling range and stuff. So I wasn't particularly bothered by that. It showed that he was doing footwork. He was doing footwork drills. He's not going to move excessively around the ring. That's not Canelo's style, but he has done footwork drills. And that's a very good thing. And he's quick going in and coming out. He's very quick with that. So if he keeps on doing that, he needs to keep working on that. I mean, whether your hand is ill or not, whether you in rehab for your hand or not, you need to be working them feet right now. So forget the hands, the feet need to you keep them working. You just keep working that feet, that foot cardio, and just keep working those feet, keep working those feet, keep working those feet. Because the guys that you're about to face, Andre, Charlo, um, and Bivol, they have quick feet. Um, Benavidez and Bitterbiev. Bitterbiev has deceptively quick feet, but he's not as quick as Canelo, and Benavidez is not as quick as Canelo foot wise. So he's gonna have the edge on them with that, and this is why I think Canelo beats David Benavidez, and I think he beats Artur Beterbiev. It's all about the footwork. It's always about the feet. Unless Canelo tires somewhere in that fight because those guys are putting a lot of pressure on him, then tires him somehow in the fight, and they can slow him down. They'll have to slow him down with body shots and stuff if they can get to his body. But then again, I'm telling you, man, this dude is not as he's not a he ain't an ordinary guy. Floyd knows what he saw. All right, and he does a lot of things that Floyd does, a lot of things that James Toney does. I'm not lying to you guys, man. This dude, Canelo, is something else. He's not. He's not. I keep on saying it over and over. He's something else. His problem is he can't consistently move. You know what I'm saying? He not consist. He's getting better though. He's getting better. You can see he's improving. You can see he worked on his footwork. And so if he just works on that, so that he has more active feet for 12 rounds, he should be doing it for 15, whatever. He keeps on doing that. Oh man, shit, he's gonna be a problem for a lot of people. He's going to be hard to beat, and he might be able to move up into higher weight classes like a cruiserweight and grab a title up at cruiserweight and become a 5 division world champion. It's possible because he's gonna have the quicker feet than everybody, and it's the feet that make a difference in a fight. Because this guy has all the IQ you can talk about. He cuts angles beautifully. I mean, he slips, he bobs, he weaves, he does it. But again, he's not slipping and bobbing and weaving consistently through the fight. He started straightening up in the fight. He has to do that for 12 rounds, 15 rounds. Canelo, you got to keep it consistent. You're really great. I mean, you got so much skill set. It's ridiculous, but it cannot be applied, and it must be applied. It must be applied continuously. Like I said, y'all compare Triple G to this dude, y'all have no idea how better. He's so much better than Triple G. Okay. Now, are there other fighters in boxing today who also are very skilled and very good fighters? Absolutely. Terrence Crawford is one of them. I think he's my pound for pound number one. He does a lot of different things. He's very rubbery and stuff. Um, who else is like that? Errol Spence is very, 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 very sharp and accurate as well. Aaron Spence, you got the young guns. You got a lot of young guns. Even the guy that was on the undercard of Canelo brings these unique skill sets with the feet again, the foot movement. So I mean, but of course they're not as experienced, as refined, and all those small things, all things, all that stuff that Canelo brings to the table. They don't. So again, Canelo kind of heads the crop right now because of his resume, and then because of also not just the accomplishments and the high level of competition he consistently faced, but also the fact that he has this unique skill set, and he's always bringing little wrinkles to the game. He always brings something a little different every single fight he does, you know. And so you gotta watch that as well. You gotta pay attention to that. I'm not here to bash the dude. I know how good he is, but I know his limitations as well. And his limitation has to do with his feet. Everybody talk about it, but they say he have heavy feet or he's flat-footed. He's not flat-footed. Clearly, he's not. He doesn't have heavy feet. The problem with him is his cardio. He can't consistently keep, and he's learning how to get that tempo that he needs to go at. But at the same time, you must be able to pick it up and go at a higher tempo and keep that, so you can bring everything down to the tempo you have. A lot of people say that that fight with Triple G was much more boring because it's so one-sided. But the reason it was one-sided wasn't because Triple G was old; it was because Canelo was implementing a certain strategy against Triple G. It was boxing him, all right, boxing him going forwards. That's right. He was boxing him going forwards. He was meant, and the way how he was doing was sliding in with off the jab, but he's sliding in to slide back out. It's kind of a Mayweather thing. Um, and so he's just on the outside. He slide into the pocket, do his thing, come back out, and he come out at an angle. That's what Canelo was doing. Man, y'all ain't have no idea about this dude. This dude is something else. He's something, and he's so amazing. Y'all can't realize the guy is at the top position where he's at because he's something. He really does something. He does stuff. He does stuff. He's special. He's not just a run of mill. And that's why he kind of. That's why Canelo's so salty, and he's like, y'all, what y'all be watching, man? Because it's like he feel a how about it. You know. Um, did I want to see him get knock out Triple G? Yeah, absolutely. I thought, I mean, he was having it easy with him. I mean, this was easy work because Triple G's a mid-range fighter. He's not an inside fighter. He's not a he's not an outside fighter. He's a mid-range fighter. See what I'm saying? Canelo figured this dude out a long time. He was like, I could beat this dude any day of the week. So, I mean, it was easy work for Canelo. But y'all, it is what it is. So y'all say the fight was boring because it was one-sided. Triple G was old. Nah, I mean, Triple G's a good fighter, man. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. And Triple G might be right. He might be right. The Canelo matchup don't favor him. I think he said afterwards he thought he wanted to fight or some kind of thing like that, which is okay. I mean, you could feel however you want to feel. He said he didn't think anything changed up with Canelo. Well, okay, if you say so. That's pride speaking. But at the end of the day, Triple G needs to evaluate the situation and realize, am I keeping my belts at 160, or am I vacating the belts, or am I taking on the opposition and I'm doing what I do? I do my game and see where it lands. That's what he has to decide. If you want to fight on, let him fight on. It's his choice. You know what I mean? But don't hold the belts hostage. That's all I'm saying. You know. So, Canelo is up on that where the areas where he's probably top 5 pound for pound fighters in the world right now. You know, we need to respect our fighters, man. When we are making criticism of fighters, we must know the details. And I'm gonna say this again: a wrist injury ain't no joke. Okay, especially if you got like extra stuff growing out of the bone or the cartilage growing out of the bone to protect the area because the area is probably misaligned. He needed to line up. He needed to get a chiropractor to line up his wrist as well. Make sure that. But also the soft tissue is not. The soft tissue is cluttering in that area. When you do what they do, the rubs or massages or whatever, there's massages and then there's chiropractic medicine and then there's acupuncture, right? And sometimes like your shoulder, sometimes guys think it's a rotator cuff injury, right? The shoulder not moving the way it should, but it's really because the soft tissue came inside of there and the shoulder went out of the joint. And maybe with his wrist is out of its proper place and the soft tissue inside. I wish he would go and see Dr. Bo Hightower before he go and do that laser surgery thing because Dr. Bo Hightower might be able to help him out and then recommend what needs to be done. And Bo Hightower, man, he be dealing with MMA fighters and combat sports all the time, so he would be able to help him out, maybe give more mobility in his wrist because probably his wrist don't have as much mobility. So if Canelo, if y'all somebody out there could get this message to Canelo, check out on YouTube Dr. Bo Hightower, Beau Hightower. This dude is really good. That's what he does with athletes and stuff. Maybe go in, get an assessment from him, what to do, and then Dr. Bo Hightower will refer him to whoever needs to be done. I know there are other professionals out there, but this guy, I like to watch him, and I like to watch him what he does in terms of adjusting people. In my country, if you live in Trinidad and Tobago, there's a guy named Blacks, and he adjusts as well. He's a chiropractor. He adjusts you really, really well. I gotta go get an alignment from him whenever I can. It is somewhat painful, but it is not a bad pain. It's a pain that you kind of like because it relieves. You feel relief after the pain. So, man, I gotta tell you guys, man, I gotta go get adjusted all in my arms and in my back and stuff because it will help my sight and my vision, and then it'll help my mobility because I'm kind of stiff in different areas around my lower back region. So, yeah, man. So we almost spent an hour on this video. Don't forget, you can check me out. PayPal, you can donate down here. I know I haven't put the PayPal link in any of my videos yet, but I will. I know some of you want to donate to my PayPal for the longest while, and you just haven't had the opportunity to do so. I know there are a lot of people that watch my channel, so I don't get the credit for it. YouTube sometimes the algorithm doesn't register it, but it's cool. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to say that. You see, you have phenomenal fighters in boxing, and we need to appreciate all of them. All right, I don't care about their races. Some, because they are a certain race, don't get the credit they deserve. Like I hear people going in on Demetrius Andrade. There's another guy. Oh hell no, you can't go in on Demetrius Andrade like that. Dude be calling out everybody, just like how David Benavidez be calling out everybody. Demetrius Andrade's been calling out everybody from day one. Yes, okay, fine. He did not do the fight with Jamel Charlo a while ago. So what? Now it's many years since then. Let this guy get his fights, man. Let's get his fights in. You know, everybody be running from this dude. I'm telling you, man. Andre a boogeyman. He a boogeyman. Nobody really want to fight with him. David Benavidez, the same thing. Boogeyman. They don't want to fight them. And why? I don't know. You would think people would want to fight the best. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Let the guy fight so that he can build a resume. Whether he wins or loses, at least he gets the matchup. And then we as fans, that's what we want to see. We want to see matchups. We don't want to see no pussyfooting around each other, because you're trying to keep a record or build a resume, whatever. No, man. Let's have it. Let's have it. Because that puts everybody in the mix and it helps everybody going forward. And whoever comes up at the top of the heap, great. That's what we want for boxing. We don't want, there are times, like again with Canelo. Canelo, if he wants to rematch Bivol, how can I say, oh, well, he took Benavidez? No, he can't say that. Even though I would like to say that, I can't because he faced Bivol. He deserves to have a rematch against Bivol. You know what I mean? But then after that, is he staying at 175 or he's coming back down to 168? That's the question. So, you can't really say down and outright when it comes to Benavidez that Canelo is ducking Benavidez. Can't really say that. See what I'm saying? That's the problem with the situation, which is not a problem really, but he will meet David Benavidez at 175 if he doesn't meet him at 168 because Benavidez is a big dude and he will come up to 175. So either way, Canelo's going to have to face David Benavidez. And if he's going to have to face 175 pounders anyway. So ultimately, in the end, if you're going up to 175, you're going to have to face the 175s. You know what I mean? So, if let's say he beats Bivol, right? That means he got to unify with Beterbiev. So, no way, shape, form, these guys, and Beterbiev is stronger than Benavidez, okay? So, that's all I got to say. Anyway, he got better pedigree than Benavidez. Benavidez didn't, go to the Olympics and all that, and he fought at a higher weight class than Benavidez. So, think about what I'm saying. If Canelo's taking on Beterbiev, you think he can't take on Benavidez? Come on now. So that's all I'm trying to explain to people that You can't really say Canelo's ducking anybody like that, except Andre. He is ducking Andre, right? Don't want nothing to do with Andre. I'm sure he would take on Charlo. Uh, Maybe he take on Benavidez. I think he will. His toughest fight would be Andre. As his tough fight would be Bivol. But look, he's going back to try and face Bivol again. So if he wants to face Bivol again, you can't say he ducking, man. You really can't. Except for Andre. And even then, you say, okay, I believe Andre's better than Bivol, and he's a southpaw on that. But having said all of that, I mean, he's going to rematch. He wants to rematch Bivol. It's crazy. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying. All right, people. So what you need is getting out of here. But I don't like the double standards in boxing, particularly when it comes to Canelo and Triple G. Triple G get too much passes, people. He getting too many passes. And Canelo, he's the one that gets criticized nonstop. They just keep on criticizing. Maybe because he's ranked higher and he was supposed to be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. Maybe it's that. Even though when Triple G was by ESPN called pound for pound number one in the world, nobody was criticizing him. Nobody. I didn't hear anybody criticizing him. So again, I'm just saying there are double standards in the sport of boxing, and I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it. It's always who you like and who you don't like, and that nonsense needs to stop. You know. And again, Triple G is a guy I respect because this dude fought at a high level right now. He is unified world champion. Say what you want about him. He's two-time unified world champion. You know, that's impressive, right? Resume not a stack, but it's still pretty impressive. And he fighting at the age of 40. So we have to always acknowledge these things. You can't be, you can't just be trying to criticize somebody negatively and just going in on them all the time. It tells me that you're not really about constructive criticism. You're not really about seeing the best for a fighter. You don't care about the best for Canelo, right? You gonna watch his fights, hoping probably he lose or something bad happen, right? Because you still paying, but you don't care about the best interest for the dude. And the dude lay his life on the line when he goes into the ring. And it happens with every fighter. So do you care about fighters? Or you just care about your little agenda when it comes to fighters? You don't really care about fighters. You just care about your agenda of fighters. Which is bullshit. I'm going to catch you guys later. I am what you need. Peace.